We're live streaming. This is great. We have more of attendees coming. So let's go ahead and get that title slide up. That way everybody knows what's happening. There we go. And again, we welcome everybody here. I'll repeat myself a bit. We are recording this. This will be available on a community link that I'll be providing into the chat. We're going to get started in a moment. I'll also be providing some other additional links of interest as well as resources in the chat. If you do have any questions, please use the Q&A. You can use the chat, but the Q&A might be a little easier for everyone to answer, come in and help answer. We got a good number of attendees, so I say, hey, let's go ahead and get started.
All right. Hello, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Pavan Velagaleti. I'm the Director of Cloud Services and AI Ops Products at ServiceNow. So this is our Ask the Experts webinar, and today's topic is Instance Troubleshooter application. Some of you guys probably have seen it already. It is on the store since February this year. And this application is available on the store, so you can install it directly into your instance and start using it. The purpose is basically to help help you to resolve issues directly on your instance before you create a case into ServiceNow, right? I'm joined by a couple of my team members, Willson David, Mike Hamblin, and Neha Srinivas. So Willson is going to kick off with a short presentation talking about the application, the purpose, how it works, and things like that. And Neha will follow up with a demo. After that, we'll come back and take your questions and answer as much as possible. So hold off your questions. Start putting the questions in the Q&A tab over there. So that we will start piling them up, and then once the demonstration is completed, we'll address those questions. All right, over to you, Willson.
Well, thank you, Pavan, for the great introduction. It's my pleasure to be here, to talk about the Instance Troubleshooter application, and I'm here with my colleagues, that help develop the application, and let me switch over to the next slide. I don't know why I have trouble. Sorry for the trouble. Yeah. Hey, Instance Troubleshooter is a self-service tool primarily targeted towards these instance administrators. And the goal of the application is to help them troubleshoot issues, common issues specifically, common and simple issues that they themselves can diagnose and address without having to contact the customer support. So when we developed the application, we looked at the cases that we have come across, the issues that customers have faced on their instances, and we picked the common issues that are easy to address on your instance by the instance administrators through simple resolutions. And that is the primary target of the Instance Troubleshooter application. And since it's a self-service application, it actually avoids the need for the instance administrators to contact customer support, helps resolve the issues quicker, and that is a primary goal of the application. And one of the things that when we started building the application is we really wanted to have the experience really simple and easy to use, because customers are in the middle of troubleshooting an issue. We didn't really want to build a complex workflow. So we really have a simple UI and one-click invocation for a product or category that you want to troubleshoot. And then when you start the troubleshooting, it shows you what it's doing. And then, within under a minute, in most cases, it shows you the bunch of, it detects whatever issues it detected during the troubleshooting. It'll present you the list of issues it's found with a clear description of what the issues that it found, along with the recommendations on how to fix them. And to help you, get the big picture, we have a bunch of dashboards that gives you daily and weekly stats on how your instance health is with respect to the issues that was found and what type of issues were found, to give you the big picture of where the problem spots are, where you need to focus more on your long-term health, etc. The Instance Troubleshooter application is a free store application, and it is available in the ServiceNow store. And you need to be your instance needs to be on Paris on Quebec release if you want to take advantage of this application. In terms of dependencies, it uses the instance scan plugin that's part of the platform, and it also uses the PA dashboard. So we build on our dashboard is built on the performance analytics dashboard. So that's another dependency that you want to be aware of. In terms of the customer value proposition, as we talked about earlier, it's primarily targeted towards instance administrators, and it's meant to be a self-service tool that allows you to detect and resolve issues on your own without having to contact support, because generally contacting support increases time to resolve. So this is the other focus area goal of the application is faster time to relief. And as you will see later in the slides, we built some features in the latest version that allows you to be more proactive and then identify issues before your customers report them on your instance. So the application is evolving to help you maintain a healthy instance as well. So as Pavan mentioned, we released the first version towards the end of February. And we continue to make improvements primarily based on customer feedback. And when we released the first version, we started with 8 product categories that the application was able to troubleshoot. And as I mentioned, right, it looks for all common issues, not just 1 or 2 specific issues, all common issues in a particular product area. And then it surfaces those issues if it exists in your instance, and then tells you along with the issues what is the impact if you don't fix it, and how do you fix it, right? And then it even gives you a additional documentation link if you want to learn more about the feature, the impact of not addressing that particular issue, etc. And we built a dashboard that gives you a broader overview of the daily and weekly stats. We also integrated the ability for the customers to send us feedback about what they're looking for in the product, how the product is working for them, or whatever thoughts they have on how we can improve or address issues that they're running into. So, and in late July, I think it was about less than a week ago, we released the second version release. And a lot of actually what we did was very customer feedback driven. We added a lot more product categories, and like I keep reiterating, right, it was very customer feedback driven. We added the ability to schedule your troubleshooting, and we added task integration to track progress of issues that were identified. And we added the ability to target a particular data source or a record to troubleshoot. Neha will walk through all of these features when she gives a demo later in the presentation. So we'll go more into the detail on all of these things. I just wanted to quickly give you the UI overview here, just to get you all familiarized with the UI. Like I mentioned, our goal was to keep the UI very simple, and what we're looking at is the Get Started page. On the left, we have 3 modules: Get Started, Results, and Dashboard, which we'll go into detail later in the live demo. So in the Get Started page, you'll see a lot of tiles or cards. Each of them represent a product category or area that the troubleshooter is capable of troubleshooting issues, identifying issues. And then each one has a troubleshoot action. When you invoke them, it'll actually look for a common set of issues, and then it will surface those things. And 1 second, sorry about that. And then we have a vertical ellipsis that allows you to access more options that are associated with each of the product category. Things like scheduling, if you want to schedule or view the scheduling, to view tasks, configure tasks, and many more options are available in the More Options menu. And then we have the feedback integration that allows the customers to send feedback to the product team with respect to improvements, issues they've run into, and whatever they actually have in mind. So we welcome your feedback. So please leverage the have an idea option to send feedback to us. And then lastly, like we have a simple filtering option that allows you to search for the product categories. And when we invoke the troubleshoot action corresponding to a particular product category, we just ask for simple confirmation. And when you allow it to troubleshoot, actually, sorry about that, it just walks you through, the various checks that it's doing, the progress. And then when it's done, it shows you a nice list of issues it found, along with the source of the issue, the resolution details, and then the documentation URL that you can use to find more information about the product area or the issue. And now I will actually hand over to Neha for a live demo of the version 2 of the application, which we released less than a week ago. Neha, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Willson. Hi, everyone. So let's start with the demo. I'm just going to start sharing my screen. Okay. I think you can guys see my screen.
Yes, I can see the screen, Neha.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so you can access our application by searching for Instance Troubleshooter in the left nav. And when you do that, you see 3 modules: Get Started, Results, and Dashboard. Get Started is our homepage. So when you click on it, this is the page that appears. This is one of the screenshots that Willson showed in the presentation. So we have a bunch of cards. Each one of these cards corresponds to a product category that you might be interested in troubleshooting. So initially we had 5 product categories, and in V2 we added a bunch more. So some of the new stuff that we added is user experience, forms and fields, core platform, service portal. Yeah. And each one of these product categories have a bunch of checks that they run when you run troubleshoot. So they try to find out issues related to authentication or user experience. Okay, so now let's say we have an issue with user experience and you would like to troubleshoot that. So you can click on the troubleshoot button. And when you do that, you get a confirmation dialog. Once you confirm, it starts the troubleshooting. So this is a progress dialog which appears. Then you can go to the result. So this is our result page. The result page basically shows you what are the findings that we got and what are the checks that were run. So for this particular suite, user experience, there were 27 checks that were run, and we have 3 findings. Okay, I will go into more detail about findings and how to resolve these issues next, but first I want to show you a couple of other features that we added. Like Willson mentioned, a couple of things that we added in V2 were scheduling and scan tasks. So to schedule, all you have to do is click on the vertical ellipse and select the schedule from the vertical ellipse menu. When you do that, you're redirected to this particular page. Over here, you can actually see that there's a schedule already in place. So I created it earlier prior to the demo, and this runs daily, every day at 9:45 in the morning. So if you want to schedule a new scan, all you have to do is click on the new button and provide your input. So you can schedule a scan to run daily, weekly, or on a periodic basis. So this can help maintain a healthy instance, and also you can run scans in off-peak hours. Okay, so the other thing that we also added were scan tasks. So this basically automatically creates tasks for findings. So you can do this by clicking on the vertical ellipse and selecting scan task from this menu. Excuse me. So over here, I've already created one record for user experience. So what this means is that for checks of priority 1 and 2, a task will automatically be created, and this will be assigned to change management group. So if you want to like disable this at any point of time, all you have to do is toggle the active flag. The auto close is set to true. So what this means is that if there are any open scan tasks older than 90 days, they will be automatically closed. Another thing is that you can have only one record per product category. So if you want to add or remove more suites, you can just edit this. So if you want like checks of 1 and 3 to have task automatically created, you can edit that. And if you want to create a new one for a different product category, you have to click on the new button. Okay, now that we have looked at scheduling and scan tasks, let's go back to the results. So you can view historical results by clicking on the results module, and you will see all the results for all your scan runs. They are like grouped by product category. So I've previously run import export, and now I ran user experience. So over here, let's take a look at these two runs. Oops, sorry. These two runs, the first two. So this one was the one which we just ran when we clicked on troubleshoot. And this one was the one run by our schedule. So like I showed, there's a daily schedule which runs every day at 9:45. So this is a result of that. Now let's take a look at the results record. Okay, like I mentioned, there were a bunch of checks that were run, and these are the findings. So now you can observe that 2 of these findings are associated with scan tasks, but one of them isn't. The reason being is this check is not of priority 1 or 2. When we created our scan task config, we specified priority 1 or 2. So only checks of priority 1 or 2 will have a scan task automatically created. Now, when you click on the scan task record, you can see a short description and description, and the findings associated with that are listed in the related table. If subsequent runs find the same finding, then they get attached to the same scan task. So now let's look into how we can resolve this particular finding. So this is a finding record, and it has like a short description. So what does it say? It says that this particular property is set to false, and this may cause performance issues in UI 16. Also, there's a resolution details, which provides you information on how you can fix this issue. This is a pretty simple problem, and all it says is that you need to set this property to true. In case you need more information for other findings, we provide a documentation for all our findings. So this might be a KB article or a link to a doc. So you can click on this and get more information about this. Now, let's fix this issue, or let's set it to true and see if it resolves the issue. So this is a sys property. So let's go to the sys properties table. Okay, now let's look for this particular record. Yeah, like it was mentioned in the finding, this is set to false, and this may cause performance issues. So we need to set this to true. So let's do that. Now that we've set that to true, let's see if that resolves the issue. Let's go back to our Get Started page. Now you can run a troubleshoot again, but this will run on all the records. Now say we're interested in running it only on this particular record that we fixed. So what you can do is run target scan. This is our granular scan run. So what this basically does is it runs a scan on a particular record. So over here, you can select the table that you're interested in. So we fixed the record in sys properties. So let's select sys properties. It shows up, this shows up all the records which are there in sys properties. Now we're interested in the glide UI JS includes. So let's select that. Once you do that and hit submit, again, the progress dialog shows up and you can go to the results once it's complete. And you see that there are no findings. So it ran the user experience checks. And when you look at target, you see that it ran on that particular sys property record. So we fixed the issue now. Once we fix the issue, you can actually go ahead and resolve the scan task. So you can view all the open scan tasks by clicking on the open scan task menu option in the vertical ellipse. So it was this particular one. So now that that's resolved, you can set this to resolved. And excuse me. And you can set this to resolved, and that's how you resolve the scan task. Okay, and the other thing, if you want to learn more about a particular suite, every suite has a learn more link that you can click on, which redirects you to the docs. So you could do that. If you have any feedback for us, you can click on the have an idea button, and this redirects you to the community idea portal. And please provide your feedback over there. It will help us to provide more features that you need. And the last thing that I want to show you guys is the dashboard. So like Willson mentioned, we have weekly execution stats and daily execution stats. So you can see how the executions that you've done and the findings that were found on a weekly basis, as well as on a daily basis. So with that, this concludes the demo of Instance Troubleshooter. Thanks, everyone. Back to you, Willson.
Thank you, Neha. It was a great demo, and thanks for walking through, all the new features, in depth as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Yeah. So now that we actually have seen the demo, I wanted to quickly, talk about, where we are with respect to application adoption, our usage. So we have been we built our first version, released our first version in February, late February, and then in the last few months we have had a lot of customer adoption, and like as you guys can see, we have so far 219 customers as of last week, and they have installed the application on 404 instances, and we are seeing lots of scans from these customers. In fact, frequent regular scans, to make sure they actually identify and address the issues proactively. And on an average, the tool is able to find 70 issues per instance. It's an average, so it's not like every instance is going to have 70 findings, but just looking at all of the customers that have been using the application, it is able to find issues that are some of which have real customer impact. And so definitely, we have also seen that the application is able to help customers improve the health of the instance, because we are able to see the finding strengths go down over time for a lot of our customers as well. And so we really hope that you actually find this application very useful. And for all those that have been using the application, giving feedback to help shape the product, thank you very much. And we are definitely looking for more customers to adopt the application and give us feedback on how it's helping you and how it can help more in the future as well. One of the common questions that we get, right, from customers, when we talk about the application is the application runs on the customer instance and it can be run in production instance as well. So because of that, one common question we get is, hey, does it impact performance of the instance when we run the troubleshooting? So we have the application out for the last few months. We have looked at the data across all the customer scans, troubleshooting, and we can tell you that, like most scans run under 10 minutes. And so performance should not be concerned. In many cases, right, the scans run under a couple of seconds. And we've also done performance evaluation to confirm that it has insignificant impact to the performance of the instance. So you should be rest assured that, it's safe to, like use the application in production instances and, use this to troubleshoot issues in any product categories that we support. Some considerations, especially with respect to V2 release of the feature. Some of the features that Neha demoed, such as scheduling, task integration, and granular troubleshooting, requires Quebec. Because we rely on the Instance Scan plugin, they added a lot of new features that we're leveraging as part of our application. And secondly, like we actually, though we support mobile, you can use the application on mobile. We do actually have some issues that we need to still work through. So the mobile support is not 100%. And the third one is we actually have some out-of-the-box findings. Some of them are valid findings that we are working with the individual product teams to see if we could address them, in the platform itself. And some of them are things that can be ignored, that we're looking to, not show it to them, to the customers in the future versions of the product. And when talking about performance, right, import-export is the product category, but we have found that after we released our application that customers have a lot of import sets. Some of the customers have thousands of imports. And so performance could be definitely better in the import-export area. And then we are actually actively working on resolving some of the performance issues. And when I talk about performance issues, right, it's not like it's taking hours bringing down the instance or anything like that. Our target is that troubleshooting should not take more than a minute. So it's more about how long it takes, how quickly it runs, rather than it's actually significantly impacting the customer instance or anything like that. We set our own goals for how quickly things needs to run, and we think we could do better here. In terms of roadmap, right? We mentioned many times that we've released our first version mid-Feb, and then the second release went out less than a week ago, and we are continuing to improve the application. Customers are continuing to give us feedback, so we would love to hear your feedback on where you want to take the application, where coverage is missing, etc. And the next release that we're actively planning for the next release, which is V3, later this year. And some of the features that we are thinking about are case integration. Sometimes, right, the troubleshooting doesn't help you resolve the issue, and we want the provider experience within the application itself to make it easy to collect, what the issues, whatever diagnostics that we found as part of the troubleshooting step, and then attach all of the relevant information, when the customer wants to create a case to bring in support to help with the issue. So definitely, we think that's going to add a lot of value, simplify the case creation experience, reduce overhead, helps us, give you a faster resolution since we are able to collect more information and attach it to the case. We are actually thinking more about how we could actually target troubleshooting as well in the future, rather than running all the checks on all the instances, on the entire instance. We are looking to apply AI and ML in the diagnostics, in help improve the diagnostics. So we have a lot of ideas around here. So we are definitely looking to add more in that space in the upcoming releases. And I have some links here. I assume the presentation will be shared with you all. So we published a user guide that is updated for version 2. That is available in the support website. And as I mentioned, it's an application available in the ServiceNow store. let me actually click on it and then navigate to you to show where it takes you. Right. Okay, there you go. It's taking a minute. Yeah. So when you go to the store page, it shows you all the compatibility requirements. Talks about, it has documentation links, that points you to the user guide. Talks about key features and various things. And let me switch back to the presentation. And then the user guide, is updated for V2, as I mentioned, and it walks you through in very detailed steps on various features and how to use them, and links to the relevant documentation sections for where it applies to the platform documentation. Yeah, I'll just switch back. It's just taking longer than I expected. So with that, do you have any questions? We are all here to answer any questions that you have, take your feedback if you have already used the application.
Yeah, thanks, Wilson. So I see a whole bunch of questions, like some in the chat, some in the Q&A. So I answered a few questions under Q&A. I see a couple of questions in the chat side. So let me read through a couple of them. I think I can address those questions. The question is Instance Troubleshooter the follow-up to the health scan? That professional services team help with, help the customers to run and see what's broken in the instance. And also there's another question about what is the difference between the Instance Troubleshooter application and the instance scan application. So let me take that question. So yes, there is another application called Health Scan that professional services manage and work with the customers on it. The main the purpose of the Health Scan is to check for the check on a few parameters, right? Upgradability, performance, security, and things like that. So it essentially checks for those things. And making sure that the instance is in a healthy state for the customers to go to the next version of the application. Whereas the Instance Troubleshooter application, there could be overlap of what these two applications check on the instance, but Instance Troubleshooter has more comprehensive checks built into it. To not only check for upgradability, but also day-to-day issues that you guys run into with the products that you use, like service catalog, service portals, mid servers, anything that you have problems with on a day-to-day basis, because of which you are creating cases into ServiceNow. So the application will try to address those at a more granular basis. Of course, the health scan can be used, should be used probably when it comes to thoroughly check for the upgradability of the instance and any security issues that you guys have on your instance. They want to fix them, use it. Any performance issues, by the way, the Instance Troubleshooter application does not address any performance issues that might be having on your instance. For that, there is the Health Scan probably will help you on that. The difference between Instance Troubleshooter and Instance Scan is the Instance Troubleshooter is built on top of Instance Scan. Instance Scan is available out of the box in Quebec, and we have built this particular Instance Troubleshooter application on top of it. It's basically exposing a UI for it and easy to interact with the Instance Scan with a click of a button, pretty much. Behind the scenes, out of the box, you would get a certain number of checks, but we are releasing more and more content into this application via these checks. So you'll see more and more coming out, and more support for more categories in the upcoming versions of it as well. So.
Thank you, Pavan, for answering all the questions in the chat and taking all these questions. Well,
Next question I see is when viewing the results, does it show all the results for the instance or only the results for the scans that I personally run?
Neha, will you take that?
It shows all the results run on the instance. It doesn't filter by the person who has run it. So it could be.
Okay. Will a troubleshooter be added for knowledge in the future? Is it?
I'm not understanding the question.
What is the Chris Martin is asking this question. Can you elaborate on this if you can? Is it the knowledge conference of ServiceNow you mean, or is it the knowledge base?
I'll let Chris go ahead and he can unmute himself and talk.
I mean, knowledge base. Okay, so he's saying knowledge base. It's there already. So I think Willson was trying to show that earlier. The entire application details are documented in a KB article that is available to you guys. So check it out. It is there is a link. You'll see a hyperlink on the store page. If you click on it, you'll see the KB article. It has all those details. Okay, so let's go back to the Q&A side. Is this a licensed product? No, it is. It's not right now. It's a free offering, basically. So it can be installed free of charge on any instance that you want. Will our instance customizations impact how this troubleshooter works? For example, do we need to configure it for customizations? Example, customized service portal. Do you want to take that, Neha, maybe?
Yeah, sorry, just looking at the question. I mean, if there's a customization which we think is a finding, it will show up. But if it is something that the customer wants and wants to ignore it, you can go ahead and mute the finding and filter that out so that it doesn't show up again.
Okay. And by the way, Neha, the mute feature, is it working right now? It's functional, right?
In Quebec, yes.
It's functional. Okay, because I saw a question on that, the mute functionality. So it's working as of Quebec. Okay. The scan bar during the scan shows 0 warnings, 0 errors, but in the result, we see the findings and checks. How different are they from the errors and warnings? Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so the errors and warnings are when the scan is running, are there any issues with the scan run itself? It's not about getting a finding and check is normal, but like suppose you want to write your own check and you write your check and that's a bad check, then it'll show up as an error and the scan may not be in like complete state, it will be in error state. But findings and findings are the result of running a successful scan and checks are what is run as part of the scan.
Cool. So Mark is asking a question. I noticed that the new scan checks with version 2.0.3 are not using the engine object when scripted. Wondering why still the old finding object is used, and did not see any usage of the linter checks for the new scan checks added.
Neha, are you familiar with what Mark is asking?
No, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Yeah,
I
I'm
think I specifically asking about the instance scan side of things. And probably, so Mark, that sounds like, that's you wanted to know the specifics about the instance scan side of inner workings, which we need to follow up with the instance scan team.
Oh,
So we'll take this question and
sorry,
follow up with them.
Pavan. It's for backward compatibility because we still function on Paris, but engine is just from Quebec onward. So till we support Paris,
Mhm.
we are going to use the old one.
Thank you, Neha.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
Let us know, Mark, if that satisfies your question there. Or if you want any other clarification, please do let us know. Another question from David. Are there any plans to have auto out-of-the-box trigger when an update set is closed? I know there is a related link today, but auto-triggering out of the box would be a great feature.
Yeah, I think this is one of the, thanks for the feedback, right? This is one of the things that we actually heard from other customers as well, right? Where they wanted to be able to trigger troubleshooting based on certain actions or triggers, in the instance, such as an update set coming in, or something import set ran, or somebody couldn't log in,
Yeah.
right? Or some part of the issue, some subsystems not working, you automatically start the troubleshooting and then surface the results. So it's a great suggestion. And it's definitely something that we are considering for the future release.
Next question is, can you please configure the shortcut links to go to the record directly, like we have for skipped updates in coming versions?
I don't think I fully understand the question. I don't know if you or Neha is able to take that.
What record? Can you please configure the shortcut links to go to the record directly? Is it the findings record? Yeah, we're not clear. We're not clear about the question. If you can clarify that a little more, we should be able to answer that. I think we addressed the question about difference between this and the instance scan. Mark is asking a question: Why are for Instance Troubleshooter the score fields empty on the scan checks and the M2M suite check records? This way, you can't use the calculated scores which would get generated on the scores table.
I'm not sure, but I think it must be from Quebec onward. So we haven't yet included that, but I don't have much insight on I know there's a field on the check table, but I'm not sure about it, but I think it's only from Quebec onward. So I think we didn't incorporate it because of the compatibility.
It's also something we could clarify offline and then, probably, clarify that later, right, Neha?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. Thanks for the questions, Mark. Yeah.
Another question from Mark is the scan task fields are a bit confusing. Instance scan and instance troubleshooter can be run on every instance, also production. Though using the scan tasks, you will have tasks on all kinds of instances. While, for example, your agile development is only on production. What is your advice for way of working here?
I see. If I understand the question, do you want to take that, Neha? Or?
Go ahead, Willson.
So I'm just trying to understand the question, right? So if Mark's question is, hey, there are some development happens directly in production, some doesn't happens in another instance. Is the concern is, like, hey, you're creating tasks, managing tasks across multiple instances, or?
Yeah.
I
So
think
I think probably typically we manage these tasks as part of stories and epics as part of Agile development plugin, right? Typically, Agile development is active in production, not in other lower environments. But we do create these scan tasks in all types of instances.
Correct.
So the question is, what is your advice for way of working here?
So
or probably way of managing it, probably.
Yeah. So Neha, feel free to jump in, right? But for me, right, when we designed the scan task integration, our hypothesis was people are going to, primarily do the development and testing in sub-production instances, right? People don't directly work, against the production instance. And so we actually cleared, the task creation progress in wherever they primarily develop and test, right? We didn't anticipate the scenario where people are developing in production and various other places, and the need for centralized, task management. Neha, do you want to add anything?
Go ahead, Neha.
No, I'm on the same page as Willson. So the idea was the scan task will be enabled on the sub-production instances. That's where you'll make all your changes. And then once those are good, you would propagate those to prod and you would close your scan task on your sub-prod. So that was the idea. So we don't have a centralized system at this point of time.
But it's great feedback though, right? So it's something that we need to think about if some customers are using a centralized work management. That's not tied to a particular instance. Yeah, we'll take the feedback. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, please let us know if you have any more clarification you want to make on that, if we couldn't address your question properly. So another question from David is from KeyBank is the goal to have parity with health check? If so, do you have a timeline? So probably, David, you mean health check is health scan, I'm assuming. No, I don't. We don't have a goal like that, because these are two independent applications. Although we work we work closely internally. Because the kind of the objectives of these applications are different. It might so happen that some of the checks we do and some of the checks the health scan does might be overlapping, but which is fine. But most of the times they're going to be mutually exclusive. That's what it is. But we have worked with them internally on this while developing this product and took their input as well. So
if I could add, right, probably reiterating what Pavan's saying, right? So you come to the instance troubleshooter when you have an issue that you're looking to troubleshoot, right? Hey, I have this issue. I need, rather than just directly going to the customer support, or customer spending time researching, what could be wrong. Troubleshooter just, helps you resolve issues, common issues specifically, right? Quickly, right? This is, hey, I have an issue, you come to the troubleshooter. Health scan is more about helping customers adopt best practices, right? Pavan mentioned manageability, performance, security, user experience, upgradability, right? There are a lot of, these are the 5 buckets where, hey, if you do some customizations, it actually helps you make upgrade harder, right? Make upgrade not seamless, right? So the health scans focus is all about best practices. Hey, if you follow these things, you will be good, in terms of managing your instance, upgrading your instance, etc. There may be some overlap, but we try to avoid the overlap. The focus of the application, right, is different. But underneath, they might be using the same engine, but the focus is different. between these two apps.
Yeah.
If that helps.
Cool. Mark has another question. Why are the scan checks read-only? Asking because if you are not interested in a certain check, you can't deactivate it. Also, muting a check isn't possible anymore. That's deprecated with QBack. Also asking because some out-of-the-box checks, we have incorrect condition. Because they are read-only, you can't fix it yourself. So he's saying muting a check isn't possible anymore. It's deprecated in QBack. But in QBack, it's active, correct, Neha?
You can mute a finding.
Okay.
But not a check.
Not a
So this is muting a check is referring. Okay, good.
But I don't know if Neha should confirm, right? But you could go to the mute table directly and then disable a check, so mute a check as well in QBack.
Yeah,
If you know the right tables, you could go and disable them.
yeah, you can go to the mute table. I don't remember it off the top of my head and add the check, but from the UI, there was a mute checkbox, which is disabled right now. So you can't mute a check. But if you want to like edit a check, then you can go to the scan suite check table. That should be editable. But we made it read only because we didn't want the external customer to actually interfere. But I think you can go to the scan suite check table and edit it.
Yeah. So one more thing I wanted to add is, right? So we wanted to make sure, whatever checks that we add as part of troubleshooting, whatever findings that we've surfaced as part of the troubleshooting, right? We want to minimize noise, false positives, and all that. We pay a lot of attention to those things. So from a troubleshooter standpoint, instance troubleshooter standpoint, right? The muting of a check should be less of a concern because our focus is to make sure, the checks are supposed to do what they do, which is to help find issues, in the instance, right? But the instance scan is a general engine, where, people can customize it, extend it. So there, right, yeah, definitely we need to find out why they actually took away the feature of, muting a check, in QBack.
Yeah.
So it's something we could definitely talk to them about. But from our use cases, right, that's less interesting to us from an instance troubleshooter standpoint. So definitely, Mark, if you find a check or a finding that is noisy or false positive, we would love to hear that so we can address that.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. So I think Kotaya Swami, he's clarifying his question now. Earlier, the question was, can you configure the shortcut links to go to the record directly? Remember? So he's saying now, I think Neha, as part of a demo, showed how we do the granular troubleshooting. So his question is around that. If the system property is found error or warning with the troubleshoot, then I have to go to system properties.list table and search for the system property and adjust as per the recommendation. Instead of this, if you configure the shortcut related link on the finding for the record, it would save time. So
yeah, but question for Neha, right? Wouldn't that be shown as a source? Can you not click on the source and then go directly there, Neha?
In the finding?
Yeah. Do we have a source that will take you there directly?
Data source record. You could go to that.
Yeah. No, good question, right? And excellent. I think if you're not doing that already in all cases, that's an excellent suggestion, right? Because people need to figure out how to go there and then filter to find the properties. So at least my understanding is that most findings will have a source, and then if you click on the source, it will take you to the record directly. But in this specific case, we'll confirm that it does that. Pro gives you the shortcut. Yeah, we'll take an action item, follow up offline.
You could, you could go to you could go to the source record. Maybe was I not on the finding table? Maybe I was, but yeah, you can just click on the source record. That should like redirect you to the record of interest. And most of our checks do have the data source set, but there are some records where the data source is not set. And in those scenarios, you would have to navigate the way I did.
Yep.
Thanks, Neha.
Cool. Think we addressed most of the questions here. So we still have 5 more minutes. Any more questions? Feel free to type in or ask verbally. Anything is fine.
So while we are waiting, Mike, do you have anything to add? Mike Hamlin?
No, I just a great presentation. One thing I did want to add is just my role is slightly different. I'm in technical support as a product manager for ServiceNow, and this is, I think, a good example of one of many of the efforts that we have in place just to continue to drive new tools and additional value for our customers. Of course, we always want to hear from our customers around complex issues they might be encountering, but at the same time, I think all of us, just as a human behavior, always want to feel enabled. And so this is one of the showcased kind of items that we're working with to help drive awareness, and our support architects are involved with the checks validations to help ultimately drive the tools into the hands of the customer so that they have options when managing their instances. So just want to say thanks for Willson, Pavan, and the rest of your team for working with us and driving this. And we're excited to see as how this evolves over time, as well as the other initiatives. So thank you.
Yep.
And thank you to all of our customers as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And one thing also to folks who are on the call, we would love to work with you closely. We would love to collaborate because this is something that we believe it's going to save you guys a lot of time in the future as the application matures. So feel free to be in touch with us. Keep those questions coming. Keep the feedback coming. If you have a support account manager on your account, have that person work with that person, have that person reach out to us directly, and schedule meetings, live meetings, webinars like this. We are happy to jump in and help out anytime. So just want to put it out there.
And to add to what Pavan had just mentioned, the idea portal through the community, this is the latest evolution to really be able to provide a voice for customers and to have others be able to comment and vote on those as well. So multiple avenues, but that is another really powerful platform to be able to give voice and priority to your thoughts and your ideas. So I think I cut somebody off, so I'll go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to plug for the customer advisory board as well. If you're not a member, there's about 500 customer members right now, and they help us inform new designs, get feedback, and so on. So we can add a link for that as well. We'd love to have you.
But yeah, great questions. We do see the interest that you guys are showing in this application. Thank you for that. Some of those questions are very, deep down inside the application, and it looks like you guys have done some due diligence already. You started to use it already. So keep doing that. Keep the feedback coming. It may not be perfect right now, the application, because a lot more to be done. We're going to be making it more and more comprehensive. We're going to be adding more AI ML into it as well. So it should be like a kind of a bot on your instance, basically, like giving you the insights off the bat without you doing anything. So that's where we want to go. But that is going to be a journey as we go.
I wanted to reiterate, right? Thank you all for taking time, from your day and then joining and having this conversation with us.
think we've got-
I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
We got one more question. Will it troubleshoot against all coding best practices too?
Coding best practices. So I think, it depends on, like whether it actually touches on, manageability, upgradability, right? Or what is the focus of that, right? Recommendation, right? So that may decide whether it actually belongs in the health scan or whether it is an instant troubleshooter. So if it is something that's going to cause a problem, when deploying your solution, or your solution is going to behave not as expected or not as intended, it may very likely be an instance troubleshooter. It may be in our scope to actually handle that.
So mostly instance troubleshooter will address the functional issues, right? Anything related to an application that you're using that functionally is not working. Those are the items, good items, use cases for instance troubleshooter per se. So from that perspective, coding best practices, you may not see those kinds of use cases inside troubleshooter. But that's something that I don't know if health scan covers it. Most likely it would, but we can double check on that.
Yeah.
One more question from the YouTube channel. Is there anything that would tell us about the stale catalog items or stale applications?
Stale catalog items and stale applications. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Willson.
No, still being, they haven't been used in a while, or okay, go ahead, Paul. Yeah, just wanted to clarify.
No, that falls, and yeah, so that kind of an audit thingy, and I don't think right now we have thought about those use cases yet at the moment. But that sounds like a pretty good use case for this application.
Yep, agree.
One more, also from the channel. Can we use this finding discovery issues, for example, where discovery got failed and how to fix it?
Yes, you can, right? We definitely cover mid-servers and discovery issues, in the instance troubleshooter. Definitely, we'll continue to look into, how we could actually do more in this space. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of opportunities in the discovery space for us to explore and then add value there.
Yeah, so as we evolve this application, we will be like going through the process logs, right, and application logs as well as we go. We're not going inside the logs at the moment. Let's say a discovery process is running, how it is running end to end from a transaction perspective. We're not drilling in yet. But that is part of our roadmap as we go. Those kinds of things, like if you're, as I said, if your discovery is running, it's failed for some reason, we should be able to let you know why it failed, what to do next. So that's coming up, those things.
Okay, great. I think we're going to end that here for today. So thank everyone for joining us, and we look forward to having you on the community. And if you have any questions, please post them there. We'll be in touch. Thanks so much.
Thank you.